Okay, so today The View put out a video talking about and analyzing the strike on Iranian General Soleimani. If you guys don't know anything that's been going on in world events, the short version is that Trump ordered a missile strike to take out Soleimani, who's been likened to being as powerful and important as bin Laden and Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. And now people either think this was a solid and effective foreign policy move or that we are headed to World War III. Now, The View is very much wary of this move. Obviously, they aren't as optimistic, and I'll play the clip, but I just want to point out how disingenuous they are in not being able to credit this event as being as beneficial as they maybe should see it. I'll explain a little bit in detail later, but for right now, let's just take a look at the video.
Well, Rick, when this first happened, Iran has been escalating their attacks for months and months. I mean, they were harassing our warships, firing rockets at American troops. They orchestrated a rocket strike that killed a U.S. contractor and wounded 4 service members. And then obviously they stormed the U.S. embassy. So I made the argument to a friend of mine yesterday that I don't think a President Marco Rubio or a President Romney would have necessarily done anything different by taking out Soleimani. So I want to know from you, why do you think that people are reacting this way to Trump doing this?
I think in part because there's a track record. I think because it's this president and the way he's conducted himself, not just in foreign policy, but domestic policy, and the fact that he's sitting there under impeachment and would have reason to maybe distract, I think that feeds into it. I also think if this was another president, a President Rubio or President Romney, I think there would still be questions being asked, which are the right questions to ask, by the way. When you use military force to go kill a guy, you want to know what was behind it.
Soleimani was the head of one of the largest foreign terrorist organizations, and I think that's being missed in the conversation.
Now, isn't it true that other presidents were given the option to kill him?
Yeah, we heard that.
And didn't take that option?
We've heard that from General Petraeus, who served the previous 2 presidents, that there were opportunities for President Bush and Obama to get Soleimani, and they decided not to because they were worried about the repercussions. Now, you can't go apples for apples necessarily, but I think everyone in the foreign policy establishment, they knew that taking out someone who's not just a terrorist, as he's being portrayed now very rightly, but also someone who's a member of a government, actually a sitting position in a government, that is a provocative action that's actually tantamount to war.
So I thought it was a declaration when you did stuff like that. You were kind of declaring war.
Yeah, which is perhaps why other presidents decided not to go that route.
Is there a scenario that Iran could come to the table?
It seems to me like diplomacy goes away with all of this.
They
pulled out of the nuclear accord very directly.
Right. Well, this has been coming for a while. He's been scratching at Iran forever. Yeah. So this is not a surprise.
Well, now they're resuming their nuclear program.
Right.
The uranium buildup. They're going to do it now. So
I thought the Iran deal was supposed to fix that.
It's accomplished nothing.
Well, but we pulled out of the Iran deal.
Well,
I was
shut it down.
He did, yeah.
I was being facetious.
The next step belongs to the Iranians. I mean, look, if Iran wants to go get a nuclear weapon, that is an extremely provocative act. It's not clear that that's what they want. It's not clear that they want or can afford war with the U.S.
I don't think, listen, I don't think the U.S. can afford a war with anybody. We've already got wars going on. We've still got lots of service people. We're trying to pull people out. So this is
2 service members died in
messy.
Afghanistan over the holidays.
Yeah.
We're still in.
I mean, it's just still very, very messy. So this is going to be going on for a while.
Okay, now I don't really agree nor really like Meghan McCain that much, but here she's absolutely right. I mean, this guy was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Americans. He was responsible for organizing and funding global terror. He was responsible for taking out U.S. aerial vehicles and for being responsible for the September 2019 Saudi oil facility attacks. So this guy is not, this nice diplomatic strategist or, calm leader of the Iranian government. No, he's a terrorist and hugely bad guy. So in my opinion, I just think there's no argument that really rationalizes that the world is not a safer place now this guy is dead. And the argument that, well, now this has led Iran to become more aggressive or that his death is irrelevant because he has successors is just so disingenuous and not really true at all. I mean, leaving Soleimani alive was not going to suddenly make Iran less aggressive over time, and people forget that Iran is the largest funder of global terror and does not hide their hatred for the West. Diplomacy with them is not working, it wasn't going to work, it will not work. I'll talk about that later, but in this case, military action is really the only move that I think really can send a message to Iran that, don't mess with us, and if you do, we're actually going to do something with actual repercussions. So the other argument is that killing high-value targets was pointless because they have successors. But then this doesn't make any sense because then why would we be taking out high-value targets anytime? I had never heard this argument with bin Laden or Abu Bakr I've never heard this argument with any other high value target except right here. And in my opinion, I think it's just to kind of lay an argument against Trump. They're really scouting or going for the bottom of the barrel here with their arguments, but it just doesn't make any sense. And then you have Sonny making the argument that other presidents did not take him out because they did not want to raise tensions. And Klein also backs this up with a statement from General Petraeus saying that Bush and Obama were worried about the repercussions. Makes sense. However, he leaves out the fact that Petraeus said this attack could actually reestablish deterrence and that this was a defensive response to Iranian aggression, not to provoke war. So that's a key, contextual point that they leave out to make it seem like, oh, General Petraeus, former CIA director, was pretty much against this move. But if you actually take a look at it, no, this move actually makes sense. So with that context in place, Petraeus' statement actually supports this move by the Trump administration. And the last point that is made is how Iran has pulled out of the deal, which now allows them to resume their nuclear program development. So it's like, oh, now that they're out, now they can do it. But this is just not true. And honestly, if you believe this, it's really just wishful thinking. I believe it was a year ago, Israel was able to obtain a pretty big trove of internal documents and memos that showed that Iran was continuing its nuclear development in secret after plans were to be curbed in 2003. And although this does not show for sure that Iran was doing this after the Iran deal, if they're going to do it secret back then, I don't see anything preventing them from doing it now. I mean, these people act like Iran is this ideal country of diplomacy and civility, but this country abuses human rights. It's an oppressive regime, and I see no reason why they would suddenly follow through truthfully with an actual treaty with other nations. It makes no sense, and is just a way for them to basically argue that, oh, look at us, we're being diplomatic, but it's complete BS, and I really don't understand how people actually believe this. But yeah, that's pretty much the View's take on it. Whoopi says this is an act of war, but Iran has been instigating these attacks before, so it's not the US making the move to provoke war. No, it's in response to Iran being super aggressive, and diplomacy has not been working, so the only thing now is military and economic sanctions. So I don't really understand her argument there either. And on the point of the economic sanctions, a lot of people say that Iran is, going to start World War III with us, or we're going to start World War III with them, but they really don't have the resources, nor the technology, nor the capability to go toe-to-toe with the US. The sanctions have ruined their economy. There's no way. There's no way they're going to be able to sustain a war with us. It's not going to happen. And in all honesty, I just think all this is really just big spouting of talking points that a lot of the left has latched onto these past few days, because obviously they're just not going to want to credit Trump with any move possible, even if this was, should be a universally praised move by the Trump administration. But anyway, we're just going to have to see what happens in the future, and hopefully Iran will get the message and relax on its aggression, but I don't know. I doubt they're going to do it, and I think things will escalate. Hopefully not to the point of war. I'm not in favor of the proxy wars, but we're just going to have to wait and see, and I do not think it's the United States' fault for actually, taking a stronger stance on this stuff. So, yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video, but hopefully I'll be back on it, and we'll just have to see where things go from here. But anyways, guys, I'll see you guys later.